warm and pleasant good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 13th of January 2024 की बात करते हैं. चलिए, we will be starting with the editorial section where we'll be talking about the remission policy laws in India and which we have taken from the Indian Express. Then we'll be discussing about some interesting news updates. And then lastly, we'll be discussing about some legal news update coming from the Supreme Court and the High Court of India. Chale. So the laws around the remission policy, so the particular editorial is based on the Supreme Court gave the verdict on January 8th, which set aside the remission of 11 convicts sentenced to life imprisonment for a gang rape of Bilkis Bano and murder of her family in 2002 Gujarat communal riots. The remission order was passed by the Gujarat government in August 2022. ठीक है, अगस्त 2022 में the remission order was passed by the Gujarat government. चले. Now, what are the clemency powers? So the clemency powers are stated in the Constitution of India under Article number 72 and 161, where the powers are being given to the President and the Governor to grant, pardon, commutation, remission, respite or reprieve to a convict. These are sovereign powers vested in the head of union and state executive to be exercised on the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay? Now, apart from this, the appropriate state government under Section 432 of CRPC has also the power to remit whole or part of the punishment to which a convict has been sentenced. In case of life imprisonment, the remission, this is a very important line, guys. The remission can be only done after a period of 14 years in jail the convict have gone through as per Section 433A of the CRPC. Now, what is the background of this remission case that we are talking about? So what has happened? There was a heinous crime for which the 11 persons were convicted in Gujarat in March 2002. However, considering the need of fair trial, these cases were shifted to Maharashtra by the Supreme Court in 2004. The CBI trial court in Mumbai sentenced the convict to life imprisonment in 2008. So there was one of the convicts named Radhasham Shah who moved the Supreme Court in 2022 seeking the directions to the Gujarat government to consider the remission application as per the remission policy of the state, which was passed in 1992. So the agreement for this was the policy imposed the time of commission of offense and the time of sentencing. The Supreme Court ordered in May 2022 directed the Gujarat government to consider the Shah's application for premature release. So the Godhra Jail Advisory Committee, headed by the District Magistrate, unanimously recommended the remission of sentence of 11 convicts and they were freed in August 2022. So what happened? They freed in 2022. So the premature release by the Gujarat government raised serious legal and moral questions. The first question, which was, the provision of CRPC are quite very clear that when the appropriate state government is considering the remission application, which should have been done by Maharashtra, where the sentencing happened, and not the Gujarat government, where the offense was committed or the jail term was being served. Also, the law requires the opinion of presiding judge of the convicting court before considering the remission petition, which was not followed in this particular case. There was nothing consultation which was taken from the presiding judge who gave the who was there at the time of convicting court. Secondly, the Supreme Court in Lakshman Naskar versus Union of India 2000 has laid down 5 grounds on which the remission is to be considered. The first of this, whether the offense is an individual act of crime that does not affect the society, it would be preposterous to summarize that such heinous crime where the person was gang raped does not impact the conscience of civil society. So we need to consider whether the crime was that or not. Thirdly, the Supreme Court in Sangli versus State of Haryana has held that convict serving life imprisonment does not have the right to premature release on a completion of 14 years in jail, and that remission should be considered only on a case-to-case basis. In the light of judgment, the Union Home Ministry issued advisory in 2013 prescribing the remission should not be granted in a wholesale manner. The Supreme Court in its order categorically held that the Gujarat government first is not an appropriate government to consider the remission petition because the convicting court is the Maharashtra court and not the Gujarat court, right? Second, the Supreme Court ordered that Gujarat government to consider the remission petition was obtained through fraud and suppression of fact by the court. It further ordered that the surrender of all the 11 persons before the jail authority within a period of 2 weeks. It held that the appropriate government for considering the petition in the instance case is Maharashtra, and it may consider their petition in accordance with law and guidelines laid down by the court. The order has reinforced the faith in judicial system and rule of law by setting aside the blatantly perverse order that shook the conscience of society at large and women in particular. It is expected that the Maharashtra government would follow the guidelines laid down by Supreme Court in the Lakshman Naskar case, under which such crimes that affect society at large deserve no mercy. I hope Bilkis Bano case has given a different perspective to you and a very broad perspective where we are talking about the powers that judiciary has it. Now, coming up to the national news, Maharashtra government declares conservation reserve in Sangli to preserve canid habitats and biodiversity. So the Maharashtra government has declared a new wildlife habitat for the canid wild dogs family in Sangli as Atpadi Conservation Reserve. Kahan pe? Atpadi Conservation Reserve. The Atpadi Conservation Reserve helps connect the Maini Risk Conservation Area in the west with the Mudhok bird sanctuary to the northeastern boundary, which will make it safe corridor for the wildlife thriving there. तो आप इसका map से समझिएगा. India UK in 2 deals during Rajnath visit. So India and UK have signed a memorandum of understanding for bilateral international cadet exchange program and also a letter of arrangement on defense collaboration in research and development. This is the first visit by an Indian defense minister to UK over 2 decades. And the last visit was by George Fernandez in 2002. When we are talking about UK, let us understand some exam takeaway facts for UK. UK is an island country located off the northwestern coast of mainland Europe. The UK comprises the whole of island of Great Britain, which consists of England, Wales, and Scotland, right? The Prime Minister is Rishi Sunak. The capital is London, and head of state is Sovereign King Charles III. Atal Setu inauguration. The Prime Minister has inaugurated the Atal Setu or Mumbai Trans Harbour Sea Link, India's longest sea bridge. The bridge named after former PM Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the Atal Setu connects Savory on the island city to Nahava Sheva on the mainland. The work on the project began in 2018, but the idea of connecting the island city of Mumbai to the mainland was first proposed in 1962 in a study titled Planning of Road System for Mumbai Metropolitan Region. So it was a long due and finally it has been inaugurated, which is Atal Setu. Goa Minister Rohan Khaunte launches India's first regenerative tourism model. So to mark the 62nd anniversary of the liberation of Goa, the State Tourism Department unveiled a groundbreaking model for regenerative tourism. Regenerative tourism has a very innovative approach to revolutionize the Indian tourism industry by advocating environmental restoration, cultural preservation, community empowerment, and spirituality, ingenuity, civilization, and cultural nationalism. In alignment with the principles outlined in Manila Declaration of World Tourism in 1918 and the recent G20 Tourism Ministers Working Group meeting in Goa, which formulated the Goa Roadmap for Tourism as a catalyst for achieving sustainable development goals. So it's India's first regenerative tourism model launched by Goa. Asian Olympic Qualifier Rifle and Pistol Shooting, India at Paris 2024 quotas. So the Asian Olympic Qualifier Rifle and Pistol 2024 shooting event is scheduled to start at Jakarta, Indonesia from Monday. The 2024 Paris Olympic qualifying event which also doubles up as 2024 Asia Shooting Championship for Rifle and Pistol Shooting will conclude in January 18. India will also be fielding athletics in non-Olympic events like 50-meter rifle thrown for men and women and men 25-meter standard and center fire pistol for continental championship. तो याद रखिएगा Asia Olympic Qualifier Rifle and Pistol Shooting, India I Paris 2024 quotas. Chhattisgarh to introduce Ramlala Darshan scheme for Ayodhya pilgrimage. So Chhattisgarh government will launch the Ramlala Darshan scheme of pilgrimage to the newly built Ram temple at Ayodhya. Deputy Chief Minister कौन है? Chief Minister Arun Saw announced the MOU will be signed with IRCTC for the implementation of scheme. Individuals in the age group of 18 to 75 will be eligible to be covered under the scheme. So Chhattisgarh will introduce Ramlala Darshan scheme for Ayodhya pilgrimage. Indore, Surat named cleanest cities, Maharashtra cleanest state. So Indore and Surat have been named with the joint winners of the Cleanest City Award, while Maharashtra bagged the top spot among states in the Union Government annual cleanliness ranking for urban areas. This was the 7th year, guys, in row that Indore was named the cleanest city in the Swachh Sarvekshan Awards. Surat, which has been in second place behind Indore for the past 3 years, won the top award for the first time. Of the 8 rounds, this was the first time that 2 cities are being sharing the top prize. Navi Mumbai was named the 3rd cleanest city. Chhattisgarh won the award for the city having the best safety standards for sanitization workers. On the other hand, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Nagaland, Tripura were ranked the bottom 5 states of India. Schools in Uttarakhand to have bag-free day each month. So Uttarakhand government has decided to announce and introduce 10 bag-free days per academic session in all schools of the state in an initiative meant to reduce the load of books for children. Or it's bit needed. One bag-free day will be observed by all upper primary and secondary school on the last Saturday of each month from class 6 to class 12 each academic year, and this initiative has been brought up in line with the National Education Policy 2020. Divyakriti Singh, India's first woman winning Arjuna Award in Equestrian. Divyakriti Singh, Equestrian Dynamo has secured a noteworthy Arjuna Award and earned her place as the first Indian woman to accomplish this feat in the domain of equestrian. Divyakriti is the second woman from Rajasthan to get gold at the Asian Games. Equestrian is the extended umbrella term for the sport including riding on horseback. Okay? The Olympic characteristics, the game is in 3 categories like dressage, eventing and jumping, also called show jumping. Jaipur's Divyakriti Singh becomes the first Indian woman winning Arjuna Award in equestrian, and this is the picture. She is receiving the Arjuna Award medal from the Honorable President of India. When we talk about some good important days, we talk about National Youth Day, which is celebrated on January 12th in the honor of Swami Vivekananda, whose birth anniversary falls on January 12th. Since 1984, the nation has marked the day by urging the youth to live up to the values, principles, and beliefs that Vivekananda embraced. Swami Vivekananda is considered one of the great Indian monks who enlightened the Western world about Hinduism. Famous speech, Chicago at World's Parliament of Religions in 1893. Famous saying, let us discuss, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. And when we also say to each other that arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached, that means till the time you clear judicial services. You cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. When we talk about some interesting legal update, when we talk about Supreme Court. So Supreme Court refuses to stay election commissioners and grouping CJF from panel to select CECs. So Supreme Court agreed to hear Congress leader Jaya Thakur's plea challenging the constitutionality of Section 7 and 8 of the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioner. Through this legislative move, the Chief Justice of India was dropped from a committee to appoint the CEC and other election commissioners, which has now prompted this constitutional challenge. So केस के बारे में डिस्कस करें. नेम डॉक्टर जया ठाकुर वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया. Next, we talk about the legal update coming from Telangana High Court. Mere negotiation will not postpone cause of action for appointment of arbitrator. So, the court has said that mere negotiations between the party related to dispute will not delay the cause of action for the purpose of limitation for appointment of arbitrator. It was held that merely because the petitioners repeatedly requested the respondent to make good of the deficiencies, it would not postpone or delay the cause of action. And case का नाम is Atheli Malika Arjun versus SSB Construction. That's all for the today's news update. All the best whoever is attempting Madhya Pradesh preliminary examination, which is scheduled on 14th, and all the best. Thank you for watching. Take care.